Welcome to DevOps Accents, a podcast on everything around DevOps, public cloud, and cloud-native topics, with your hosts, Pablo, Leo, and Kirill.
Hello and welcome into another episode of DevOps Accent, a podcast where we, the co-founders of mkdev, get together to discuss all things around DevOps, cloud-native technologies, AI, data, and today we are together, three of us, Kirill, Pablo, and I. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello, Leo.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine and a little bit hot because for some reason I put this hoodie on and I don't know, I feel hot. Anyway.
You're hot?
Yeah, I feel hot.
This is good.
Before we start, I'd like to make small announcement about what's happened at mkdev. We start with smaller things. We launched our own subreddit on reddit.com. You can go and subscribe today, and it's like if it's your preferable way to consume news, consume that what happens on the internet. Personally, good to go page number one that I open when I wake up and open my browser. So we are there now, and everything that happens at us, all articles, all video that we share, you can find it there. Comment, share. And of course, like and subscribe. And you probably heard that we started AI department at mkdev, and we happy to announce that Paul Larson, a renowned data engineer and data scientist, joined mkdev team working with us on the project related to artificial intelligence data with our customers, and we're happy to have him. And he just published his first article at mkdev about systemic approach to artificial intelligence in your business. If you are looking for AI and still don't know how to approach this, if you don't understand if your business needs it at all, and just go and read this article. It's basically a guide on how to start with that and the key elements that needs to be considered when you are trying to approach this. And we also started mknews, our bi-weekly news show on YouTube channel. You probably already saw 2.5 episodes of that. One episode was like a trying episode, and we are sharing news that we found interesting in while exploring internet, and that we decided to share them with you so that you don't have to spend the same amount of time reading, scrolling through the internet, checking all the videos. We just give it to you in this simplified format in 20 or so minutes. Kirill is creating those news. He is attempting to be a news anchor. Kirill, how do you like this new role of yours? Are you enjoying sitting in front of the camera and pretending to be a pretty news anchor?
I love this one. Tell me, Kirill, tell me.
I like this new format because it's actually pretty. I'm sure not many people understand how much effort Pablo and I give to making a video for mkdev channel, because there is for 5 minutes video, it's up to 15 to 20 hours of work, because we need to, for any technical video, to prepare many things in advance, do the POCs, research documentation, make sure everything works, write the script, and then record. And this new news format that we are trying out is actually much easier from production perspective, because in the end it's just similar to podcast. We select the news, we in this case so far it was me giving short commentary on each news, and then editing is also really simple, because it's basically just a video recording of myself with some overlays. So in this terms, it's really good. I think it's also useful to have this kind of compressed source of news, because it's pretty hard these days to find what's important and to be able to track everything, because you need to probably be subscribed to couple of dozens of newsletters and Twitter accounts, etc., to just get the important things related to your career. And we'll try to give this 15 to 20 minutes compressed information where you just sit once a week or once every 2 weeks. We still didn't decide how often we're going to do it, and just watch about the most important things that happened. And then you don't need to lose focus and dedicate time at random points of the day to read through different feeds to get this news.
Personally,
that's the idea.
Personally, like when we first tried this, I was kind of skeptical on this regards because, come on, digesting news. Okay, but then I was surprised because I found that I'm actually listening to our own news and clicking through the links, discovering new things. That it's really useful even for myself. But because for the most part, how I consume news is, as I said before, like from Reddit. When I open the front page and when I see something on the front page of Reddit that comes from the bottom and something is tech related, I go and read it and I immediately read some comments. But I discovered that I rarely go to specialized news outlets to read something tech related. It is much more convenient and much more interesting to consume this from this format, and I just discover something that I didn't know about, and I was surprised that this format is actually interesting for even for me, because like I'm generally I'm skeptical about news formats because I have this typical notion: if something important happens, you will know about it, and if you didn't know about something, it's not that important. Because if something important happens, everybody talks about it, and you cannot escape learning about it.
But Leo, do you like it? Do you pretend that you like it?
No, I like it. I said
it's a joke.
I remembered we had a conversation about, so both Leo and I, because unlike Pablo, we love and play video games still. And we have this shared, one of the favorite video game bloggers, Shilab. I'm not sure why he's called Shilab, probably because he's from Australia. He says Shilab, like it is Killab, but he always says Shilab in every video. And he started making these news digests every week on Tuesdays. And I remember that I told you, Leo, that I love this format, and you were like, news digests. I actually skipped them. But for me, that was one of the sources of inspiration why we should try to make something similar in our industry, because I don't have any time to actually follow video game industry news on a daily basis. And I don't even try. And this video that he makes, it's 20 to 40 minutes sometimes once a week that I watch during lunch or I listen to in the background when I'm cooking or something like this. And then he gives me everything important and even some smaller news from this industry that I love, but I don't have really time to dedicate every day.
Yeah, and I was thinking about exactly the same thing that you were saying to me the other day, because I kind of have like the other way around. I'm not so much consumed by tech news. I don't read much about it, but I read a lot about video games, gaming outlets, game news. I'm subscribed to dozens of gaming subreddits. So everything that SkillUp talks on his news, I like 90% I already know, or I heard from someone else, and it's not news for me. But and when I was listening to mknews, I realized that this format is actually works because it's interesting for me, and I don't have time or don't have much desire to learn firsthand about these things that happens in tech, in Microsoft, in AWS, or other things. And I thought that probably other people are in the same spot, in the same situation as I, and they are busy exploring things that is important for them. But when it comes to discovering things like that, they may rely on sources like this. That's why I said Pablo. That I liked it, and also like how it feels to create them, like how you're selecting a dozen of 15 news for the episode, and how do you decide what is interesting and what is not?
I think like we don't have a system around it yet, right? Because we had, like, as I said, 2.5 episodes. The second official one, because the first one was like a try without camera. It was lots of editing and attempting to put as many memes and gifs as possible, which was a nightmare from editing perspective, because it's actually not so easy to create 10 minutes video without a camera recording and with just something having on the screen. That's why in the first real episode I switched to recording of myself, because it's just way easier to edit. I was listening on Sunday a podcast where the guy was like Cal Newport, is the author of the Deep Fork book and some other books, and he was saying that YouTube is kind of winning podcast game, because majority of people listen to podcasts on YouTube, more or less. And what's interesting is that lots of podcast creators record video in really high quality, because you have to do this for YouTube algorithm and for YouTube in general, to have like a proper recording of podcast guests. And funny thing is that no one is actually watching it, so people just turn on the podcast in the background always. So on one side you have to do this video recording, on the other side no one is actually looking. And I would expect people watching mknews is also never actually looking at the screen. It's something that you turn on in the background, and just listen to this news. As about the source of the news, it's an evolving process. I have like Pablo and I, we discussed some ideas on how to use AI for this, because we always have to use AI for everything, because it's actually pretty hard to find this news. That's why the problem I described before is that you have these 50 newsletters, etc., to find important news. Now we have this because now we actually are obliged to go through all of these newsletters to select the important news. And it's hard to understand what's important, because if you look at, take last week, Google Cloud Next 24, 3 days of announcements, and how many things Google announced, like around 100 plus. And how do you compress it into this news episode without compromising all the other news that happened in AWS or other clouds? So it's hard, and we probably will learn a lot about how to select the good news. Some news are obvious, like this OpenTofu against HashiCorp case was all over the news outlets, so it was easy to pick this one. Some others, like AWS retroactive cost allocation tax application. It's one of these 200 things that AWS releases any given week. But I picked it because I think it's actually super important for FinOps. And that's something that I find is really useful for our customers and all the companies that need to start doing FinOps properly. So then we had it in the news episode. And where is this balance is still, we need to find it between, because it would be stupid just to have like episodes containing this biggest news, like, oh, Redis changed the license, or HashiCorp fights open source, because most people already know about it. So we need to also find some medium to small size news that is still helpful for the listeners and for the viewers.
I also think, like, probably that's just my idea, because I was thinking about people who are listening to this kind of content, and even getting back to Skill Up, right, and his news. To me, this is this kind of content creates a personality for the person who announces this news, who reads the script, because you're not just reading the news. You add your own opinion on that, and your own jokes and your own ideas, sharing your own ideas, creating an impression of yourself, an impression of the company. And this can help people to understand who you are, and to be able to, I don't know, to create a bond with you, and how you react to some news. For example, like how you made a number of jokes with Amazon and their failed attempt to create automatic shops with artificial intelligence. I also thought about a joke when I heard about it, but I don't think it's appropriate to share it online.
But I think that Amazon really didn't fail on that. So we need to be fair with them. So they created something that is working, but they need to have a person who is checking if what they did is okay or not. So at the end, the problem is that you can have 2,000 cameras. But if you have 2,000 cameras, the price of the supermarket is super expensive. So they tried to reduce the cost with less cameras, but they discovered that they need more people attending really what was happening. Because the process was working. The process, when you introduce something in the car, on the back, it was checking that product, but you need to check that really it is what is happening. It's not that there are 2,000 people checking a person and writing down what this person was doing. It wasn't like that, It's not a complete fake. There were people hired to, let's say, to really check that what they bought, it is what they have in the bags. So it was something in the middle, not something like, okay, this is a completely fake, and there are 200 people behind the scenes, and they are moving the thing. Like when you go to these pharmacies and then you tell to the person in the pharmacy, I want paracetamol, and then click a button and paracetamol coming down. It's not that there is a monkey with paracetamol in the hand and he's throwing the paracetamol. There is a real system behind that, taking the paracetamol from the letters and then sending that to you.
I think it's pretty clear that they failed because they said that they will stop doing this. So they said it's not working and we stop.
Because it's expensive.
So for sure they failed.
Failed because it's expensive, because they discovered that they need to have all this IT environment, plus they need to have all this army in India that they want to get the salary, because they want to get money.
Yes, but
to get the money from the people from California.
But imagine they were running this system for many years and they did not manage to make it less expensive in all these years. So they still needed thousands of people monitoring. So it is a fail as an AI product because they did not manage to make AI more reliable. And it's a financial failure because they did not manage to make it kind of financially sustainable. Plus, it was a privacy disaster. The biggest news for me actually was that they are selling this information to other companies. Like, what? Like, they sold data to Starbucks about how people behave in the shops. That was for me bigger news than just this virtual cashiers.
Yes, but the main problem first, okay, this is a problem. But the main problem from then is that they tried to go to, in the USA, to a business that is really there to make companies like Walgreens and Walmart, that they control everything. And they need to do something different. And the only thing that they decide to do is, okay, let's do it this way. Because Amazon Fresh is something that is working cool when you do with the app, but in a physical store, because they both a brand in USA. I don't remember what is the name of this brand.
It was Whole Greens or something like that.
Whole Greens, something like that. Yes, it was a huge one. When I was living in Chicago, I used to go to this one. It was something like a bio supermarket, something like that. And they tried to compete with those two monsters because only Walmart is something like I don't know how many millions of employees. So, and then they discovered that they cannot fight against those. So what can we do? We can do something magical. But at the end, maybe it's working for the people in California, but at the end they discovered that. No, what only I want to point is that is not that the AI wasn't working, or more than the AI, the machine learning and all these cameras, it's not that this wasn't working, it was working, only that wasn't working as good as they expected. So it's only the point. Not that it was a fake, because I've been talking with people and the people was telling, it was a fake. There were no cameras there, and it was really people from India writing down what the people was taking and putting. Imagine come on, the guy with the red hat is taking to cook 3 beers.
It's not a fake, but it's like the stupid autopilot from Tesla, which is just not working. Yes, like you get E for the effort, but in the end, if it's not working, it's not working. If you cannot fully autonomously run the shop and you have thousands of people always babysitting the system, then it's not working. If you have an autopilot that constantly makes mistakes and you have have a person at the steering wheel, it's not an autopilot. Same here. And I think also the whole idea is a bit like they try to be more fancy than it's required for the because if you go to any supermarket these days, you have this. Okay, not to any supermarket, but to many supermarkets. You have this self-checkout machines. People just go, scan things, pay, and leave. And you have like one security guard per shop. And that's probably like 50 times cheaper than what Amazon tried to do.
Now that you talk about the autopilot in Tesla, maybe now this Xiaomi, this SU7, because it's coming with autopilot and we watching the autopilot, maybe this really is working. So you never know.
Yes, it's like the fusion energy. It's always gonna work in next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And never is coming the time.
For sure, there was a breakthrough in hardware and the scientific research that will make this particular machine work. And Tesla did not manage to do it because they're stupid. And now Xiaomi will do it. I mean, there is like the reason it's not working. It's not because of hardware, for example, right? It's because they lack a better way to implement it and the better explanation how to make it work. I'm not sure Xiaomi has some magical thing that will make their car run on autopilot in Rome, for example, or on Canarias. For sure, it works like Tesla.
You're able to go in autopilot here is really something good. Without 100,000 people working from India,
for sure,
driving the car.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that in a few years we will learn that under the hood of Tesla there is a little man who actually drives and sits and steering instead of you. And the reason why, for some reason, sometimes autopilot fails is because this little man got distracted by something, and the car gets into a crash. But in general, the idea was good. The thing that Amazon was trying to achieve, like it was a nice idea, but something went wrong, and it is not clear at what stage it went wrong. Because when you think about the idea, it doesn't sound that complicated. You can go to any supermarket nowadays and there are a lot of automated cashiers that you can put your products on, and it's even can measure the weight of a product. It knows in advance the weight of the product, and you need to put the product on one side of the basket, and it immediately understands what you scanned, what you didn't scan, and if you pick up something from the basket, it immediately tells you that, oh no, don't put it back before you scan another product. So there are a lot of automated things that works just fine, and I'm kind of surprised that something went wrong at Amazon with that.
No, but I was just want to say, like, because they try to be more fancy than it's required, because instead of using some scanners, they were like, we'll just do everything with the cameras. Because there is no scanning of the barcode. It's just camera sees that you take a banana and then it's like, okay, banana costs this much. You walk out, and the main feature is this walkout technology that you go in, pick stuff, and walk out without scanning anything. And for this, they used only cameras.
But if you already can measure the weight of a product, so you have a shelf and you can install, a system that knows how much each product weighs, and when you pick up a product from the shelf, it immediately understands that you picked up this particular product because the weight of the shelf total changed on this smaller amount. And then you put it on your basket, and the weight of the basket changes on the same amount.
But for example, I was watching this the other day, a podcast about what Inditex is Zara, is Pull&Bear, is all these brands, how they do, because the idea is that they are reducing the people that is in the, really not reducing, they're removing. When you want to pay, they are removing everyone that is in this cashier. So there is no person anymore. And they're using something is a technology, is a radio frequency identification, is RFID. So then you go with the clothes, you put on a place, on a basket all together, you throw all together, and automatically it's telling to you 225 euros. And you have all the tickets there. Because in the clothes, you have a device inside. And the only place in these stores where they have people is when you want to return. Because when you want to go and return something, they need to check if the piece is okay or not to give you back the money. But any of the stores in the world right now in these Zara themes, in this is the biggest one in the world. Inditex is the company, so they don't have a person to sell. It's only to return theme, and all the companies are doing that. And the same thing you can do with the supermarket, because I saw in Doha, for example, not only that you can go with the pistol and take the ticket, that you can put food inside the case and the car, and then you go out, and then automatically is counting. I had to mind that it's using the same radio frequency identification in the tickets, and then they know what you bought, and automatically it's telling to you when you move $320. So and then you pay, and that's all. And you can do so simple. It's true. Why you need to go one step? I think again that the only reason it was because you wanted to be differentiated with the competence, and you try to make the people go to, because at the end they started in California, and everyone in California wants to be cooler as the previous day, so they need to make something cool as yesterday, because if not, they're not happy. So and it's super cool to go there, take a bottle of water or the deodorant, and you leave the store, and that's all. You don't need to talk with anyone, because automatically you open the door with your app. You go open the door with the app with the cell phone, and then you leave, and that's all. And then when you leave, you receive a ticket telling to you have to pay $10. That does automatically discount from your bank.
Even I remember reading in the news a couple of years ago that they were trying to sell this technology as a packaged product to other supermarkets, because there was something that they had like only 20 of these Amazon Go shops with this technology, and they were not interested in kind of making more shops themselves, and they were trying to package it and to sell, let's say, to whatever, Walmart, but like smaller ones. I think for me it's a bit of a stupid idea for Amazon, because the whole idea of Amazon is that you don't go to the physical shop in the first place. You just go and order everything online. So if you want to order water, you just go to Amazon Fresh or Amazon Prime Now, which was called in Germany first time, and you order water there, and then you have this same-day delivery, and you get it delivered to your house. So this whole move of Amazon, like, oh, now we'll have this physical shops. Like, okay, but for physical shops, there are so many companies who do it way better than you.
Exactly. And if I want to go to a physical store, it's because I want to talk with people. I want to have a physical contact with the products. And maybe you are not the best doing that because you don't have the experience of Walmart or Walgreens. So, all these huge companies, you don't know Costco. You are nobody in the market, you're nothing. But okay.
Mm-hmm. And they completely lost this market of delivering groceries to home to other companies. At least in Germany, there is like so many companies, like I told you, Pablo, like this Flink and Gorillas that deliver food within 15 minutes, like the groceries. There are bigger ones like Knusper, and there are probably like in Germany alone, maybe like 20 different services that deliver groceries to your house. And no one is using Amazon for this anymore. Like there was like this short period of time in Germany, maybe like 6-12 months, when Amazon Prime Now and Amazon Fresh was the only option. But then they just lost this market to all the competition. And in the US, I hear a lot about DoorDash. I think it's not available in Europe. There's lots of people use. There's like Instacart. And it's confusing because these things that Amazon is supposed to be good at, they completely lose to competition, and they try to do these physical stores with cameras.
There are no challenges that we couldn't overcome. Whether it is immediate infrastructure problems or planning a future project, we won't simply answer your questions. We become a part of your team to help you complete the mission. Our solutions consider the interests of your business and the combined expertise of the industry, as our staff is made up of more than a dozen experts in different areas who share decades of field-tested experience and knowledge with you.
If it was up to you, how would you change the approach? Keeping the concept, you just go in, you pick up the product, and you leave without interacting with anything other than the product.
But you talk with the lady or the person who is in the cash. It's super cool that you go there, you talk to her, you say, hey, how is the day? He's telling to you something and you pay, like always. I think that there are many things that you need to change, but I think that there are things that you don't need to change. So you don't need to put so much effort on that when this is not a problem. When you go to a supermarket, the only problem could be the price. Because if you compare the time that normally you're in the supermarket in these huge places is 1 hour and a half, and the time that you're waiting to pay is 3 minutes, 4 or 5. So it's nothing. Then I cannot consider that you need to change that. But okay, it's my opinion. I think that you need to change maybe the price. So, and this is a place where they cannot participate because this is a technology company. And if you want to reduce the price of the product without technology, then it's not Amazon.
Yeah.
Then it's Costco, it's Walmart, it's another supermarket brand. And then this is the reason because they fail, because they are not a supermarket brand. And they wanted to do something that the people, they don't want to have in a supermarket. I don't want to have a camera watching me all the time, checking what I'm doing, if I doing something or not doing something. No, nobody wants to have that. I want to be in a supermarket and I want to do what I want.
I mean, any supermarket has a camera anyways without Amazon. So
it depends of the countries, because, for example, in Netherlands, this is it's not allowed. So you cannot have a camera. So it depends of the...
Yeah, but in US, I have to imagine it's everywhere, in UK as well.
Yes, but the difference is that you know that there is a camera, or you know that there is a camera recording you and following you all the steps. So this is the difference, no? And even they can recognize your face and they know all the movements you are touching that. Okay, no. And then they're making metrics with, okay, how many times did you go to this corridor? How many times did you check the beers? How many times?
Yeah, for companies, like it takes, it's a very valuable information because they can track how much time it takes for you to decide which of the products to take. And then you decide, I go with brand A instead of brand B from the same product. And then they make the decision. And then you sell this information to the manufacturer, and they know how it works.
Exactly. But I want to sign the cookies before I do that.
Exactly. And you don't know.
I want to go to this cookie and said, okay, I allowed you to take all this data from me to later on sell this data to another third-party company.
It reminds me of the case with the WeWork. There's a co-working company, because they had this blog post at some point, like how we use the AI to understand when to give coffee to the people. So they're like, we analyze that from all the sensors and everything, that 9:30 in the morning, there's the biggest amount of people in the queue for the coffee. So at this period of time, we put 2 baristas instead of 1. And there was like, okay, you figured out that people drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And I feel like this grocery store stuff is similar. Like you don't need cameras to get information about which product people prefer. You have the receipts. The supermarket already has all this info. The only difference is that maybe one product is in a less fancy shelf, but usually that's where they have this promotional, like if there's a new, let's say, a protein bar, then the company wants to promote it, then the supermarket will have this separate stand with like a beautiful advertisement so that you can pay for this. Otherwise, you get this regular shelf and then you have like everything the same. So unless you're doing this kind of promotion, you can already see information who is buying what. I feel like it's kind of a solved problem in terms of data analytics. You don't need to put like lots of cameras to see which products people buy and how fast. You already have this. And I think the self-checkout machines are really good to solve this problem with the automation. I think it's, imagine, like, Pablo, for you, 7 p.m., the poor lady already scanned 5,000 products. Do you think she wants to talk to you? Like, she has like a line of 200 people wanted to buy groceries, and you're like, how are you? Like fuck you, no. Like, there are 200 people waiting for you. Don't talk. You just scan and you package the products and go. And that's what the self-checkout machine solve, because it's a horrible job if you work in a big supermarket.
But really, I love to talk with the people in the cast, and where I live in, the people love to do that. And it's really, it's something like a therapy. It's the moment when they talk to, it's like before the bartenders, it was something like a psychologist. The guys in the supermarket are the same, because it's people who wants to talk with you. And that's all, because the only thing that they do is clean. It's something that you can automate easily, as you say, all of us know. But nobody in the supermarkets, they want to renounce of this person, because at the end, is giving, it's giving something like a human barrier to the supermarket. It's something like, okay, we are a supermarket, but we are humans too. It's not like millions of products. Pick out what you want and leave, and don't talk to me.
I think it's not because they want to keep it, it's because due to different regulations. Because if you go to UK, there are more self-checkout desks than the humans. And same, for example, in some other countries, you can see clearly that the countries with the less protection of workers, they have more self-checkout machines, because you can say, okay, we just fire 10 cashiers, we replace them by 2 machines. And then in Germany, the adoption rate is less because you cannot just fire people. You have the Ashana, you have the Carrefour, where you have this huge building and you have thousands of people. I'm not sure that at some point the poor catchers really are into having a conversation with all of them. Small shop is I don't know, a small meat shop for sure. You go, what's this? Where this meat is coming from? And it's like this. We just butchered the pig this morning, so now we have it. But if you're talking about a big supermarket like Walmart, like Costco, like Rewe, Lidl, no one is going there for therapy. Or if you're going there for therapy to Lidl, I think there is a bigger problem than AI and cameras.
I don't know.
I don't know. I have Lidl next to my apartment here. It's one of the biggest Lidls in the town, and what I learned is people are talking in the lines. People are talking to cashiers.
You see?
And I think this is a cultural thing because
Exactly.
Yeah, and back in Russia, I feel like I was the only person who was talking to people standing in the line, and I'm the only person who talked to cashier because I was discussing what I'm buying with other people, and I suggesting something to other people in the line, like, "Oh, and try this. This is nice." And I see you decided to pick this product, and then they have a promotion for another. Go and try it instead. I don't know. I like to do that, and I found that here in Serbia, people are always talking to each other, standing in the line because they're bored. and that is kind of, maybe in Germany, it's not a common thing to talk to people.
You need to understand, in Germany, in Bavaria in particular, the supermarket closes 8 p.m. So if you're working till 6, you have around 1 hour to buy groceries. You don't have time to talk to people. Come on, you have this very narrow window to buy your groceries.
Open at 6 o'clock in the morning, some of those.
Yes, if you go 6 or 7, you have to go to work. You have, again, a very narrow, you need to be focused. You cannot spend time talking. You need to buy groceries. You have 1 hour. You go and come on. If someone...
But this is true because in Germany, when you live in Germany, it's focus. It's potatoes, come on. And the ladies, come on. And you have to pay. And you're something like, you're going to having fucking heart attack. And then you leave the supermarket like that, with the fucking stress. When I leave the supermarket here in Canarias, it's like if you smoke a joke, it's something super
because
cool.
You're not in a rush. Because the shop does not close at 8 p.m. You have time. In Munich, no, you don't have time.
So Amazon should have opened these stores in Munich, not in California. And speaking what went wrong, like if I was the person who were to decide what to do with that, I would keep 1 or 2 stores like this just for an amusement park for people to come to visit and to it's a store that creates an impression of the company, like, yeah, we can do that, and that's it. And that when they decided to expand and to open more stores like that, and even trying to sell this technology to other companies, this is what went wrong. They shouldn't do that. Just my opinion. Just keep it as a fancy thing, an entertainment, and that's it. Okay. You during the latest video, you said that portion of the video was recorded with portion of the audio was recorded with artificial intelligence, that you gave a sample of your voice to the program, and it created your voice. How was that? You said go and guess which part of that was artificially generated, and I have my guess. At least that's how I would do that. Like those portions where we cannot see your face are the one that were recorded with audio AI, and specifically the part when you announce the topic and the news. Am I right?
I think it was the last one only, no?
So in the first episode of mknews, every time that I read the title of the news without my face, that was AI, all of them. In the latest episode, it was only in one place. Actually, I was frustrated.
Yes, the last one.
Only one place?
The last one or one of the last one.
I was frustrated because I was like, how boring my voice is, because I was recording with AI and I was recording and I was, because when I record, I turn my head, I read the title, and then I record the actual video part.
It's good that you say that and not me.
And I was like, when I read the title of the news, it could be as well AI. Like I was generating with AI and it was like no difference. Like, okay, people actually will not tell the case. So then I reused it only once.
But I know that it was this one only because of because every time that you record and when you are used to cut audio, something like that, you always hear the sound that is beginning and beginning after the sound and in the middle of the sound. And when you are recording with this AI, there is a different noise. So because when you're recording with your mic, you know, I know the sounds of the Rode or the new one that you have now, and there is generating a different noise around. But the thing is that when you do with this AI, not because the voice is different, because it's the same voice, it's crazy that it's the same voice. But the thing is that the sound, the way that the waves are cut, completely clean, because it's a completely clean process, something super difficult to do if you want to cut yourself. This is the thing. It's a super clean environment.
I didn't notice this, probably because I'm listening to this kind of news while I'm making food or when I'm loading or unloading a dishwashing machine or something like that. Yeah, so I can swear, like every time Kirill announces the topic, I think, oh yeah, this is definitely AI. Kirill doesn't sound like that. You can clearly hear this is a different voice. Fool me once, I guess.
No, it's because I don't. Okay, when I record the main part, actually, I try for this not to sound boring. But when I read the title of the news, because I'm recording, say the camera is on the right, and then I have the notes with the news there. So I turn my head and I just read
the most robotic voice.
Yeah. Because that's not meant to be like on the video, right? I just turn and like reading in the most boring voice, just the title for this. How do you call it? The inter news section. And then when I talk about the news, I already put some effort. And that's why it's so close to also AI, because this 11 Labs AI generator, I think it's really good because it sounds like me, but it's not able to like talk fluently, really. Like I would not like, it's hard to explain, but you can't really put the same emotion and the same like emphasis on different words when you generate the audio sample. There is no way basically to say that like now read this in a sarcastic tone or something like that. You just give it a text and it generates how it please.
Read that in state mode, or is something that is decided automatically by the 11 pads?
No, there is nothing. Like you just give the text and then you hope it sounds okay, and then you have like two sliders you can increase stability, but then as you increase stability, it becomes more boring or more monotonous, and you can increase or decrease likelihood, or not likelihood, likeness, and then it's also like if you say like 100% like me, it will sound more like me, but then it will add this horrible background noise. So then the AI model kind of goes sideways, depending on. And then there is like the sweet spot where it sounds kind of okay without the background noise, but still sounds like me. And then I use this one.
And you use this with OpenAI voice engine that they just revealed?
No, I was using with 11 Labs. 11 Labs is the company that's the only focus on this kind of text-to-speech models, and they are currently best on the market from what I understood from testing as well, because actually you can upload like up to 3 hours of audio, and then they take like 1 day of training the model, because it's like a professional voice clone. That's something They have a quick one where you give like a small sample and then they give you the something that kind of sounds like it, but not really. But you can also do this professional trained model that takes more time. And that's the one I'm using. And I think there was something in the news, I forgot already. I think like OpenAI hired someone from 11 Labs to work on this thing, on this voice engine, or vice versa. I think maybe people in 11 Labs worked for OpenAI. There is some interconnection between these two companies.
And because I never use 11, we have that but I never use. So the thing is, it's like, for example, in OpenAI, when you're using ChatGPT, that you are blocked to make some kind of questions, or you are open to question about everything. So you can tell with my voice, you need to say whatever thing, or there is something like
Yes. The problem here is that, not a problem, but as I saw, because yes, you can make anyone say anything with this, but they actually have a verification process. I cannot just clone the voice of you, Pablo, or of Leo, or of some politician. They have like, you need to prove that it's you who is cloning your own voice, and then they will train this model.
How do you prove that?
They ask you to read like a special text multiple times, so they compare the samples that you gave to them and what they ask you to say, and if they think it's a match, then they will let you to create the voice clone.
Okay.
And they generate these texts, a new kind of text every time, probably to make sure that.
I guess so.
Okay, makes sense.
At the end, if you have the model, you don't have the barrier to do that. There is no.
Yeah, if you have direct access to the model, and you only can create one clone there per account.
Yeah, because the first thing that came to my mind is that I don't need Pablo or Kirill to create another podcast episode. I just use this tool and put whatever I want you to say, and just write all the script, and then artificial Pablo and artificial Kirill will.
But you don't need to write anything either, and you can go to GPT and then you can have the script too.
Yeah, but I cannot make you read this script and pretend that you are saying this.
This technology, not this particular model, but the technology is open source. There is the multiple open source solutions to this kind of voice cloning, where you can achieve the same likeness of the, and everyone already saw online there's lots of videos of like Donald Trump telling like something like "fuck you, Biden," like this kind of thing. There are some. I'll send to you, Leo, later, because Pablo won't understand this one. But the likeness of some big politicians from the motherland is crazy. It's so hilarious because they make them say something like completely stupid, but with this real voice, like you really hear the voice of the person that you're thinking is the voice of, and it's the AI model. It's crazy.
Yeah, I watched some videos where Trump, Obama, and Biden, they discuss video games, and there were several episodes of that, and this was really fun because they really sound like themselves. And this is kind of surprising to me, like the most surprising part from the news that you shared on mknews is that OpenAI, how careful they are with this technology, and they said something like that releasing this application that resembles people's voices can create some troubles, and it's risk, especially in this election year. This kind of surprises me now, given that we have so many open source tools that can do that and can do this very well. Like, why would you take pretending that there is some risk when people already are doing this? Just do this better and make it, I don't know, paid or something if you don't want to take this risk.
I mean, people do it, but it's probably in some way illegal, and then OpenAI wants to avoid doing illegal things like 11 Labs. So they want to be careful with this and make sure that they have all these checks like 11 Labs, that it's, if you're cloning the voice, you have some consent from the person who owns the voice, or it's you who is cloning the voice. Plus it can leak, right? Like imagine these trained models of, I don't know, like if Mark Zuckerberg goes and plays around with OpenAI model, creates a voice clone, and then there is like a security issue, and then someone gets access of his voice clone. I was watching I think it was last year or 2 years ago, the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, the last super cool Mission Impossible movie. There was and that's going to be spoilers, so if you did not watch it, skip ahead.
Close your eyes.
Or if you, Pablo and Leo, did not watch this movie,
That's all right.
That's going to be spoilers for you. You won't escape it. There was a scene where Tom Cruise is chasing a bad guy in Venice, and he has the headset from his sidekick. I forgot the name, the one that is played by Simon Pegg, who tells him where to go, to which direction, like go, like run straight, and then turn to the right, jump over the roof, and he follows all these instructions. And then at some point, we learned that none of this voice was real, because the actual sidekick, he lost contact with the Tom Cruise like 10 minutes ago, and Tom Cruise was following AI telling him where to go, and disconnected him from his sidekick. And I was watching like, oh, cool, like that's probably will be something like this in the future, and look at us. On the other side, I lost the link. We probably should find it and place it in the show notes. I read a few weeks ago is that there are many companies that also allow you to generate video, not only audio. So you give like a sample of your video, how you talk, and then they generate video with your voice clone. And I tried one of the tools and I sent it to my nephew, and then he didn't realize it was AI. So they're pretty good. But what's confusing is that someone figures that many of these companies who create this kind of video generation, they have the same girl on the demo videos. They're like, oh, look how realistic this video generation is. And there is like a girl who talks gives some walkthrough how to paint nails or whatever with like the hand gesture and everything. And someone found this girl on Fiverr, this freelance website. And actually, these companies hired her to record this video. So the videos were fake, like not fake. They were like real videos of this girl pretending that she's an AI model or like AI generated, but it was a real woman hired to record demos for AI video generation tools.
And then we learned.
Which makes no sense to me, because the services work. If you try them to generate videos, they're good at generating it. Maybe not as good as they pretend to be, especially with like with the hand movements and gestures. But what was strange.
And one question before we ended the podcast, what do you think about this new LLM model from Apple, this re-LLM? Because, I was checking the numbers. It's the numbers that they are giving. It's not because anyone is checking that this is realistic, because nobody has tested the model yet. But, okay, first point first, they're telling that they're better than GPT-4, even in the 80 millions version. So something that sounds crazy. But for me, it's something like, okay, they did that today, and this is the best that we were able to do. Boom, we are better than you, a bit better. And it's not something like 20 times, it's only a bit better. But what happens if GPT provides the version 5 tomorrow, and then it's 30 times better than GPT-4? Because we are talking about, I am better than something that appeared, 1 year ago, 1 year and a half ago? So for me, I think that this career against the GPT-4 is a mistake. Because unless that you want to do the same thing that you want to do with GPT, that is a tool that you're not going to use anymore, Google. So it's a tool to avoid to use Google. I don't know why do you want to have these kind of models that are only for that reason. What do you think about that?
To me, like the main idea, what is better? Like, how do you measure? Like, can you feed more information to the LLM model? Can it generate a bigger, more symbols in the output text? Is it better?
There is a number of exercises that you can make to prove what is the answer, because this is a language model, to prove if the understanding is, for example, when you make okay, I have 2 kids, and they made a test that is the same in all the American schools in whatever part in the world. And this test, one is a math, the other is in English. Okay, everything is English, but okay, one is in English and this about what he said, my son, because when he said, okay, is this one about the literacy? If I know the commas and the dot, and if I understand a test and all this kind of thing. And at the end, it's the same thing. I provide to you a test, and you need to give a correct understanding of the test. Plus, you need to not only understand what I'm telling to you, only able to later on talk about what you read. There is a number of questions in this language model that you need to try to do, because it's not only that I ask him for A and you answer B, is that if I, for example, I ask him to you A and you answer to B, then you're able to recognize that you said B, and then you're able to double think, okay, yes, I said B, but maybe I was wrong, and it's not B, it's A, because what I said, there are many themes, and these kind of questions are giving points, and this is I think that, Kirill, you put a table with some values of the exercises in the video, if I remember correctly. So this is what I mean. It's not that you are bigger. So this is not a porno movie. It's something different.
I mean, they compare with GPT-4 because it's the market leader, right? That's what else do you compare with? We are better than GPT-5. That doesn't exist. Makes no fucking sense as well, right? So you compare with the best in the market. Best in the market is GPT-4, so that's what you compare with. They need to compare with something. So
also, which GPT-4? Because, for example, when I use Bing AI, a copilot, it uses GPT-4, and you have this toggle between GPT-3.5 and GPT-4. Even when you are enabling GPT-4, it's still way worse than GPT 3.5 on OpenAI website when you use ChatGPT. And GPT-4 can be stupid.
I think actually I disagree with that. It's not important how big the size matters. The input for the model is, because one of my main issues with GPT-4 or whatever with any model is the context size, or how much you can put inside the prompt. And that's where I think more interesting news from the last 2 weeks is this Gemini Pro 1.5, because it has 1 million tokens context size. Because we started publishing the summaries of the podcast, and we tried to do it completely with GPT-4, just basically put transcript into GPT-4 and ask to give like a nice text with like Pablo said this, like Leo disagreed, quotes, summary, etc. Total failure, like just garbage what GPT-4 gives. The Alex spent like days, weeks trying to make it work, and then he's doing it semi-manually right now. He uses it for some parts, but then he has it. And one of the reasons is because the podcast transcript is just huge, and GPT-4 cannot handle it properly, because what's the context size? 32K is the maximum token input. And now the
128th case, no?
At the best, at least via API, it's only 32K, and even they don't give access to it.
Okay.
So horrible, like shitty ChatGPT, because now there is a 1 million token for Gemini 1.5, so you can put the whole book into it, and then it will, even if it's, let's say, 10% more stupid around doing some like reasonings than GPT-4, it's just better because you don't have this limit anymore, or you have a limit that is so big that it will handle all of the cases. So for me, this is cool in terms of the progress, in terms of real model being better at something than GPT-4. I think I said also in the videos, I think it's just the wrong thing to focus on, because the Claude 3 from Anthropic also is better at some things than GPT-4. Like, it's better at writing code, and it's better at some tests. But then if you try to use Anthropic Claude 3, you cannot upload the file to it. Well, now you can, but when there is, you cannot. So it's, even if it's better, it doesn't matter, because it's not a final product. And what makes ChatGPT so great is that it is a final product. It's not just GPT-4 model. It's all of the things around it. Like, did you see that now you can generate an image with the DALL-E on mobile app, and then you can select the part of the image and say, now change only this part, and then it regenerates. So the whole image is the same, and then That's kind of things that make ChatGPT what it is, and that's why it's so popular. Not only because the model is so great, I actually think the model is became much, much worse, and especially for most people, the power of GPT-4, like they don't use it. 3.5 is enough for most cases. And that's what I want to see from Apple in June and July, how they make it part of the iPhone and iOS and macOS. Not that they beat GPT-4 in how good they understand screenshots of the screen, of the iPhone screen, because that was one of the things that they emphasize, that this real model is better at understanding what's happening on the screen, because GPT-4 was trained on stock photos, for example, or on the art, and it was never specifically trained on interfaces. And now this model from Apple is particularly good with understanding the screens, because it trained it on screen, what's happening on the screen of the smartphone, of the laptop.
To me, better means if it can run offline on my device, and if it's not forgetting what we were talking about 5 messages later. Anything that can do that is automatically is better than anything else.
Offline is a big thing. Yeah, that's something Apple, I hope, will do from the day one. Have you seen this human AI thing? Humane, how do you pronounce it? The meltdown around this new hardware product.
Yeah, we saw that.
Which one?
There's this new device called Humane AI Pin, which is like a small thing that you put on your chest on the left.
It looks like this, yeah.
Yes, we talk about that once. I'm kidding.
The most stupid thing on planet Earth.
Yes.
This thing.
Yes, we talk about that once.
And now everyone hates it because it doesn't work, because it goes to the internet. Every time you cannot, you ask a question, then it takes 10 seconds for this to reply. Hopefully Apple thinks about this kind of problems as well.
I also hope we will be able to discuss this with Paul with our head of AI next time when he will be able to join to our podcast. But for this podcast, this was essentially an extended version of MK News for you. I hope you enjoyed. And this is an extended snippet of what MK News is, as news from all around the web regarding tech and technology, cloud infrastructure, and cloud native technologies, spiced up with our own impressions and our takes on this. If you like it, go now and subscribe to our YouTube channel to not miss MK News every 2 weeks. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast here on YouTube or on Spotify, whenever you listen to this. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Kirill. Thank you, Pablo, for joining me today and having time to discuss. Thank you.
A pleasure. See you.
Thank you, Leo.
See you.
Do you think your project infrastructure is well set and maintained? We know for sure there is always room for improvement. If you are uncertain where to begin, let's first do an audit of what you already have. We will review your setup from every angle: performance, cost, security, high availability, and automation, and provide you with a detailed roadmap of which direction your infrastructure should go. Generate concrete tasks for you to implement, or even take on your infra entirely, if you let us, of course.